Hey there, and welcome to Be Unmessable with the podcast. This is my short turbo tip for being unmessable with, and it has to do with what you're creating in terms of outcomes versus actions. A lot of times, people confuse an action plan with really an outcome list. So, for example, I'll give you an example. If I say to somebody, okay, so what actions are you going to take over the next, 3 months to start your new business? So at the end of the 3 months, you want to have a new business up and running, right? So what are the actions? They'll say, well, one is to get my website done. Getting a website done is actually an outcome. It's not an action. There are probably 10 actions, if not more, that will accumulate to producing this thing called a website being done. So you'd have to break it down into the actionable actions versus the outcome of the actions. And this is one of the biggest things that messes with people because when they put things in their calendar or they put things on a strategy plan, what they're confusing with actions is outcomes. And then when that comes time to do that action, they really can't because it's an outcome and they haven't done the work or the thinking to break down what are the actions that's going to allow for that result to be produced. This is something that people sometimes resist doing because they think it's going to take a lot of time. But the truth of the matter is, if you spend the time up front in breaking down what are the actions that's going to allow for that result to get produced in a month, then the month is like ease and flow. You don't have to worry about what there is to do because it's all going to be outlined on your plan. And if you're working with the Be Unmessable with methodology, it'll be in your calendar as well. So, for instance, this podcast, this is a perfect example. So, if when I launched this podcast, I wanted to have it launched by June 6th. So that was, 3 months in advance that I wanted to have it launch. So then the question was, what would have to happen by May 6th in order to have June 6th be a done deal. And my intention, my goal was to have 30 episodes recorded by June 6th so that and edited, recorded and edited. So by May 6th, I would have had to record the 30 episodes. And then during that last month, the editing would have had to gotten done. So I had all of those results planned out. The outcomes were planned out. But then what were the actions? So if you take 30 episodes being accomplished and edited, recorded and edited, and you break it down into actions, there's going to be make a list of potential guests, send emails to 30 guests. And maybe I needed 50 invitations to have 30 people say yes. It actually turned out that I said 30 and asked 30 and they all said yes. So that was exciting. And I ended up with 50 episodes recorded before June 6th. But putting up a scheduling link on a Calendly or a Google Calendar so that people could schedule themselves. So that's an action. That's going to take a few minutes to actually create the Google Calendar link, to make the list of people, to write a draft email that I can tweak and customize for each person, then to send the emails. These are all the individual actions, not to mention the recording and then finding somebody to actually edit the shows and then have a schedule for the editing where episode 1 would be edited by April 10th and episode 2 by April 15th and all of that. So the point is that if you can take any result that you want to produce in your life and actually break it down into what I call bite-sized chunks. Somebody once said you can't eat the elephant in one bite. You've got to break it into bite-sized chunks. So whether or not you want to eat an elephant or produce a podcast or start a new business or maybe double your income or whatever it is that you're out to accomplish, even losing weight or getting in shape, whatever it is, a family reunion, you need to break it down into what are the actions that are required. And once you have the actions listed out, then you can begin scheduling those actions in your calendar. And if you don't schedule them in your calendar, then they have a way less likelihood of actually happening. If you do schedule them in your calendar, then at least they're there in reality, not in your head or in your memory, which is not a good place to keep stuff. There's a whole lot of stuff in your head that you don't want to mixing around with your goals. But if you put it in your calendar, then you can actually execute that plan. So you have a vision, you have a goal, you have a plan, and you have a structure to fulfill on that plan. And that is a little bit of a recipe to keep your outcomes distinct from your actions and actually fulfill on the goals that you have, whether it's for the year, for the decade, for the month, or for the week. All right. I hope you found this useful. And if you want to get more into how to use your calendar to design your life versus react to it, you can sign up for my Design Your Days calendar workshop. It's 45 minutes, but it'll transform your relationship to time, to overwhelm, and to accomplishing what it is that really matters to you. See you on the next episode of Be Unmessable with the podcast.